The teams are in for the final game of round 1 of the 2024 Six Nations, and it is really hard to predict what's going to happen. I could see a result going either way. I could equally see Scotland battering Wales. I kind of don't know what to expect, and that's what makes it really exciting. I'm going to be at this match as well. So for some updates from Cardiff, for chats with the fans in Cardiff, make sure you hit subscribe on the channel and check back in on Sunday evening to see what's going on. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers. Let's start with that Welsh team. It is... well, Warren Gatland, I think, has had the hardest job in World Rugby. Keeping his squad together and tight. He took over when the team were in a really tough spot, managed to build them up, get some confidence and perform really well at times during the Rugby World Cup, give a good account of themselves, bearing in mind where they came from. And now he's got to start all over again. Just before, that's the team right there. While you're digesting that, in case you haven't seen it, let me just run through some of the players not available now to Warren Gatland. Retired players from international rugby like Justin Tipperick and Dan Biggar and Lee Halfpenny. Like injured players, Ken Owens, Captain Jack Morgan, Taulupe Faletau, Chris Chunza, Dewi Lake, among others. There are players that are unavailable to be selected due to the cap rule, like Aled Davis, like Jared Evans, like Joe Hawkins. There are players playing in Japan like Liam Williams. There's Gareth Ainscombe. There's Lewis Rees-Zammit, NFL bound. There's Thomas Francis, Corey Hill, and the list goes on. You could make a pretty amazing team, maybe a couple of teams, out of players that Warren Gatland does not have available to him, that a few months ago he did. But do you know the one good thing is? Because Warren Gatland has gone through this process already through 2020, the back end of 2022 and 2023, he's now in a really good place, because despite some of these names being nowhere near a Welsh team a couple of years ago, a lot of them have got some international experience, have been around the camp, have played in those World Cup warm-up games for Wales, have even experienced wins like against South Africa, for example. So if anyone can do it, Warren Gatland can. But that said, let's go through this side. Firstly, the captain, Dafydd Jenkins. Am I saying that right, by the way? Help me out if you're Welsh. When there's one F, does that mean it's Dafydd? Dafydd Jenkins. I think that's right. And then if it's two Fs, it's Dafydd. I want to be respectful, so let me know if I need help. Dafydd Jenkins, 21 years old, 21 and 60 days old to be precise, making him the second youngest captain of Wales ever, after the one and only Sir Gareth Edwards. That is some stat. He is the real deal. He's a very, very special talent, and he's clearly got a lot about him, not just as a rugby player, but as a bloke, because he's been trusted by Warren Gatland, who did the same thing with Sam Warburton back in the way, and that worked out all right. But there are lots of regular parts of the furniture still in this side. You look at the second row alongside Jenkins, you see Adam Beard, 50 caps to his name. You see Ryan Elias, who's getting on for 40 caps. Aaron Wainwright in the back row. On the wings, you've got Josh Adams. You've got centre Nick Tompkins. So there's a lot of familiar names. The backups, yeah, basically the rest of the team is backups and players that have been propelled into first choice spots. Let's start at 15. Cameron Winnett, uncapped. The one uncapped player in the 15, making his debut. He's only got a handful of senior games to his name, and here he is, starting in a Six Nations match in Cardiff. What a day. Warren Gatland has been stressing there'll be no pressure on him whatsoever, saying that he's going to be a really big international player in the future. And Warren Gatland did stress in the future, and we do have to temper our expectations. I hope he can have a great game, but it's early days for him. And I guess that's the one thing, regardless of the result, you can use that cliche, you win or you learn. And hopefully, even if Wales don't manage to get a win, which I think they can, then these young players will learn something and be a lot better for it. But you just have to hope that they don't get scarred by inexperience. I don't think they will, because like I say, I don't think the team is as bad as people are saying. But there's no doubt it is not as good as Wales could select if everybody was available. Owen Watkin at 13. I was maybe surprised without George North, who's got a little bit of a stinger on his shoulder. Without George North, by the way, Will Rowland's also not available in second row, and that is because they've just had a child, and he's out in France, in Paris, and anyway, so he's just been given some time to get right after that and to enjoy being a dad for the first time. So he will be back in due course. But Owen Watkin at 13, I sort of thought Mason Grady, he's played there before, but Owen Watkin, it's his first start for Wales in 18 months. I was thinking about it, that makes sense. That makes sense. When you come on to who Scotland have got in their centres, they're going to be a real strong attacking weapon. Tompkins and Watkin, to me, that's a pretty solid, pragmatic, defensive unit, if nothing else. And I think Warren Gatland is going to try and make his team hard to beat. That's what Warren Gatland sides tend to do. Six Nations debuts for Corey Domachowski, for Sam Costello, and those front row and fly half are the big areas. Not of concern, but, well, maybe in the case of front row, it is concern. Scotland will be targeting it. But then again, Leon Brown, am I right in saying he played against Oxen Che just the other week in the Challenge Cup, was it? 60 minutes, and from what I understand, I didn't watch the game, saw some highlights, but from what I understand from people I spoke to that did watch it, he did okay against the great Oxen Che. So maybe he can deliver now on the promise that he's had. We'll see. Yeah. But that said, all of that is not negative. It's an evolving Wales team. With all of the things I've said, Scotland should be terrified that they are playing a Warren Gatland team in Cardiff where they just don't win rugby matches, whoever's on the team. And it should maybe make Scotland even more scared that they're playing a Warren Gatland Welsh team in Cardiff that have been written off by many people. They will not be taking this one lightly. And headlines for Scotland: no Rory Darge, no Blair Kinghorn. Kyle Rowe starting 15. Finn Russell confirmed captain. And back row, some interesting selections there. I'll go through all of those in turn. Starting at the back, where it's a start for Kyle Rowe. Who saw that coming? I watched Blair Kinghorn play. I was in Paris and I watched Racing 92 against Toulouse. Blair Kinghorn was starting fullback for Toulouse. So I haven't actually seen, is he injured or anything? So I'm assuming maybe it's because he played on Sunday night and the games are late as well. Didn't kick off till 8 p.m. local time. So he wouldn't have been able to travel to join up with the Scotland squad till Monday. He would have played a game the day before. So maybe he missed some key training sessions and that's why he's been left out of this weekend's games. Kyle Rowe, did not expect that. And I did think, well, if Blair Kinghorn's not there, maybe they'd move Hugh Jones back to fullback. Cam Redpath's been playing really well for Bath. Have him in the centre with Tui Pelotu. But thinking about it, I'm quite excited about Kyle Rowe and I can understand keeping Huey Pelotu as a combination. Tui Pelotu and Hugh Jones, pretty tidy. Elsewhere in the back line for Scotland, Ben White is back. No one seems to be able to just grab hold and keep hold of that starting 9 jersey for Scotland. And why is Horn always the number 2? I really like him. I really like him. In the pack, front 5 completely as expected. Grant Gilchrist is out suspended. The back row is where the interesting call comes there. No Darge, no Dempsey. Dempsey's on the bench. I would have thought they would have been 7 and 8. But as it is, Jamie Ritchie's back in at 7 and he is vice-captain. He has been he had the captaincy taken off him. You wondered if that was due to injury, but no, that is just a permanent thing. Luke Crosby at 6 and well-deserved for his form lately, Matt Fagerson. I thought he had to be in the back row somewhere. I was wondering if he might be the 6. He's playing in his preferred position at number 8 and you can't begrudge him that. He's been absolutely ace. And Alec Hepburn and Mr. Miller Mills making their debut. 2 Premiership props that, well, Miller Mills might have thought his any chance of international rugby had passed him by. Alec Hepburn had a few caps with England, now qualified for Scotland. Fair play to them both. As for a combined 23-man squad, taking each player head-to-head, so 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and all the way down through the 23 men, that's what I've come up with. What do you think about that? 3 Welshmen in the pack. I did toy with the idea of Scott Cummings, and actually, am I judging David Jenkins on what he can be in the future with that selection and not what he is right now? Whenever I've seen him play this season, though, he's looked a colossus for Exeter Chiefs. So no, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it. I think the front 5 is where Scotland will absolutely be targeting. They'll think they can get some change and get a really good platform. And then that midfield axis, 10, 12, 13 with Duhan van der Merwe. They have got some frightening talents out back. If they can get a good ball, I expect Scotland to get rid of their hoodoo in Cardiff and sneak a win. I don't think it'll be a beat down. I think Scotland will win and they will definitely start. Now, I would imagine narrow favourites because, again, Scotland do not travel to Cardiff very well. Then again, the Welsh team they're playing is not like a normal Welsh team. But if anyone, as I say, can make Wales competitive, it will be Mr. Gatland. Bring it on. I'm going to be there in Cardiff for that game. So excited about Six Nations Round 1. Friday night, straight after France v Ireland, I'll have a video here. I'll have a video straight after England, Italy, probably from the Millennium Stadium, or Principality Stadium, sorry. And it's there that I will be on Saturday evening. So please hit subscribe on the channel so you don't miss any videos. Give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you on the next one.